Hey, welcome back and take two. Well, welcome back to the Dialogues About Death show with your host, Chris Miller. Hi, Chris. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Mary. Thank you for helping me out and getting this thing rolling this morning.
Well, I think we were talking about this off screen that the heat is like making the technology go, ah!
Yeah.
So it's all good. It's all good. And we're going to make this a super short show today, Chris, because I think people are busy and we need to get in and out. And there's so much to share in a short period of time.
Yep.
So make sure you stay with us. And if you're, sorry, I cut you off. Is there anything you wanted to share today?
No, I just say, you know what? It is summertime and people are like starting to travel and get out of get out of town and have a good time. So let's get with it this morning.
I love it. Okay, cool. So we're going to get right into it. Today we're talking about what is how to pick your cremation, because there are so many. So Chris, I kind of wanted you to kind of give a general overview at first, then we're going to dive deep into different cremation types, because there are so many new things and you're very innovative and you're always coming up with the cutting edge stuff. So I'm going to go off screen so you can answer this question in general. Thanks.
Sure. So today we're talking a little bit about cremation. And if cremation is something that that you desire at the time of your death and a means for disposition, then we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And what we offer at Thomas Miller Mortuary here in Southern California is gas or flame cremation. So when cremation takes place, once we get all the documentation, everything prepared and settled, we will go ahead and get your body prepared and put it into a machine called a retort. And a retort is kind of a large vessel. It's kind of like an oven that is made with high like powered bricks. So it takes a lot of heat. And what we do is we introduce flame with a natural gas to begin the cremation. And the cremation will take place, I usually say it's about like 100 pounds per hour, but it's typically anywhere from, say, an hour and a half to 3 hours for an average cremation, depending on the size of the person and depending if they were embalmed or prepared, the type of cremation container they were in, if they were just in a simple minimum cardboard cremation container, or if they might have been in a heavier cardboard container, or if they were in a wooden casket. So there's different levels of types of containers that your body can be placed into for cremation. So that also kind of enhances the time that it takes to have someone cremated. But go right ahead.
No, go ahead. You're going to say, but
I was waiting for you to come on so I can tell you more.
Well, okay. So I just want to point out, because some people, the reason we're talking about different kinds of cremation is that there are people who have different preferences and they might have heard something from someone, or they go on the interwebs and they go, oh, and they get scared of like, oh, I don't want to do this. But once someone has passed away, they don't feel anything. So
that's correct.
All these different cremation options are really the families, or if you take the time to pre-plan, which is what we recommend.
Yes.
You can get cremated any way that you choose to, or if you've left it up to your family, there are different options that would make them feel comfortable. But every single type of cremation doesn't hurt. It's very clean and eco-friendly. Like everything you do is top notch. So I kind of want to throw that in there, because sometimes some people think, I don't want to burn. I'm like, well, you're not there. You're in heaven, hopefully. So you're not there. It's just how we take care of the remains.
We all hope and pray everybody is not burning. Hopefully everybody goes up and everybody's good. There could be a whole different type of flame somewhere else, but we won't get into that today.
No. And so I said there's different options. So let's talk really a little bit. People have asked about, like, is there anything sustainable or good for the environment? But I think because you're going to cover this in the next question, there are the most common that people now are talking about now are cremation by fire, which is something that is what has been done forever. There's water, there's planting, and composting, and those are two different things. So those two are like more like the kind of the sustainable. So I'm going to go off screen and then let you
talk a little bit about all those.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's do that.
All right. Oh, wait, before we go, we have quite a bit of people live here.
Fantastic.
So I just want to thank them. Yay. Keisha, thank you so much. I know we got kind of confused in where the show was today, the technology. So Kathy, Erica, Keisha, this is
Beautiful.
awesome. Christina, good
Wonderful.
morning.
Look at everybody.
Sissy, look at everybody chiming in.
Wow.
Carlene,
Yep.
I
Carmen
love it.
Christie.
And
Wonderful.
Sherilyn.
Beautiful.
Good morning, everybody. Thank
Good
you so
morning.
much. And I didn't share this, but at just typical housekeeping, since we kind of jumped over that, if you have a question, please put it in the comments because we'd love to answer questions live. And if you feel this is would bless someone, we'd love for you to share it with them. So it's easy to hit the share button on your Facebook page. So
Beautiful.
again, thank you so much, Chris. And again, we're going to be talking about
Different types of sustainable cremation.
yeah, and not just sustainable. You can go into
Yep.
detail a little bit about the water and the fire as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, thanks so much.
You bet. So, in addition to what we offer at Thomas Miller Mortuary, which is fire or flame cremation, there's been some new technology out there for probably the last 5-10 years, and it's just starting to catch on here in California. And it's called alkaline hydrolysis. And what that is that's cremation using water. And people say, well, how can you cremate with water? Well, what they do is your body is placed into a chamber filled with water and a chemical called lye. And lye is part of it's a chemical that's natural in the environment, and it helps break down the body into just its ashes. So it'll dissolve and break down all of your skin and flesh and all the organs. So then you just have your bones left to process afterwards. And so that is a means. So for those people that aren't really keen on a fire cremation, they can do a water or alkaline hydrolysis, which is now the first one has just opened in California, and it's just about 45, 50 miles south of our funeral home. So if it's something that people are wanting to do, we can definitely talk more about it. And it is an option, but we just don't do it personally. It does take a little bit more time. So if people are in a rush, needing their ashes back for a ceremony or going somewhere with them, the alkaline hydrolysis process takes a little bit longer. And since it's offsite, it also, so I would say it's going to be a week or two for us to get that process taken care of for you, if that's something that you're wanting. In addition to those two options, the people can also be what we call planted. And so after after you're cremated, your ashes can go into like a forest. They can be put into an outdoor area, which is a little bit more natural, more biodegradable, more friendly. Then instead of just keeping them in an urn or keeping them in a place of remembrance, there's a place actually they've opened up a forest area up in the area of Big Bear, Lake Arrowhead area, that you can actually bring your loved one's cremated remains up there, and you can pick up a personalized tree and plant the ashes underneath the tree, and the ashes would act as like a fertilizer type of thing to be underneath to nourish the tree as it grows. Then there's also one other thing. It's called composting, and people go, "What's composting?" Well, composting, a lot of people compost at home, and when you compost all your leftovers and things like that. But this is where you take your body, and it's not embalmed, it's not really prepared. You're just wrapped in a cotton shroud naturally, and then you're placed in a burial site. And there is one cemetery right now in Northern California, I think near the Merced area, that allows that. And it's something that is just catching on. It's for those people that are very green environmental. They don't want to have chemicals in their body, and they just want to kind of go back into the earth. It's just something very natural. So that's something that is offered out there. It's again, it's very unique. It's not an everyday occurrence, but those are things that we can offer and help our families research if it's something they want to do. It's just that we don't have any of those options locally here in Southern California at this time.
Awesome. Well, Sissy actually just chimed in and she said it's called Better Place Forest in Lake Arrowhead, California.
Wonderful.
Yay. Thank you, Sissy. Now, because Sissy obviously is one of Chris's amazing staff members,
Yeah.
Or I should say family, because they are so much like a family there. But I'm curious, you said they're cremated. So even though they're composted, are they still?
So composting and planting. So planting is the cremated remains being planted in a forest. Composting is the whole body just being buried in the ground.
Okay.
So that's the difference between the composting or a planting.
Okay, because I've seen some things where it's like it's not a real person, but like it's a drawing that they can plant like a tree into the container, and then a tree grows from your remains.
Well,
Is that
we
true?
have an urn such as that at our funeral home that we offer, and it's a starting kit that you can take your cremated remains with seedlings, and you can take that vessel home and plant it in your backyard. So your
Oh,
cremated remains are part of a tree that would grow, but it would take a long time for it to grow. So yes, we offer that also, and
okay.
we offer that today, and we actually have it as a sample in our selection room, in our urn room. You can
Okay.
actually get the little starting kit for planting of a tree with your cremated remains.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Because
Yeah.
I'm a Ted Lasso fan,
Yes.
and there was did you see the funeral episode?
Yes.
And so
Good.
with the apple, he's
Yeah.
like, delicious. So some people might not, want that, but
I know.
it's an option for people. So thank you, Chris, for sharing all that. I think that, and so with the composting, you say put the remains like to go up to Lake Arrowhead or in your backyard, that would be a fire cremation, right?
That's correct. So
Okay.
yes, we would do a cremation, and you can do the cremation with fire is going to be done how it's been done for decades here in the United States, if not hundreds of years. It's
Right.
kind of how cremation kind of started with fire naturally, but now they use it with natural gas to help feed it to speed up the process. The alkaline hydrolysis process is using water and lye, so it kind of does sterilize everything. So there's not a lot of nutrients in the ashes. There's not a lot of nutrients in your ashes even with fire because of it gets so hot. It does kind of make them sterile. So there's
Sure.
not a lot of nutrients in, even though you have your bone left, and your bone has a lot of minerals and things in them.
Sure.
After cremation, the heat kind of sterilizes all of that. So there's no there's no good or there's no bad. It's just kind of neutral. So
Right.
that's why you can use it as a byproduct to start planting, but you would have to add nutrients really to help the tree grow because your cremated remains themselves wouldn't be enough to help grow because there's no nutrients in your cremated remains.
Okay. Well, that's it. Very interesting. And
There
then
you
you
go.
mentioned something before we got started that I was surprised to hear, with the water cremation, that it actually is beneficial to our water system. So can you
It
still
is years ago. This was about 15, 20 years ago when this was just getting off the ground. I was in the process of writing some legislation for the state of California to try to get alkaline hydrolysis approved here in the state. And it
Okay.
went all the way to Sacramento, and our legislators worked on it, and they kept shooting it down for several years, kind of being a political thing. And I'm not going to get political today, but it was just kind of a political thing here.
Sure.
And it went back and forth for several years, and we just finally gave up on it and said, you know what, maybe the state's just not ready for it yet.
Right.
And so about 5, 6 years ago, somebody picked it up again and ran with it, and they finally got it approved. And so it's just really, again, we just had the first one here in the state of California approved like this a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's been very recent.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's very new to our state. He's the first one. It's down in Fallbrook. It's just, like I said, about 45 minutes to 50 minutes from us. And if a family is interested in that, we can partner with them to do that. But going back to being beneficial, when I was in the process of trying to put one of these alkaline hydrolysis machines in Corona, I actually went to my water department here in the city, and I was talking to them about that, of saying, hey, is this good or bad for the system, our water system? And
Sure.
they were saying that the byproduct, and again, your remains stay in a chamber, so you're gonna get your loved one back, but it's the byproducts that kind of filter out through the system will go in down into the water treatment plant.
Sure.
And they were saying that
All cleaned out. Like it's
yes,
not
yes,
in our water, what like to
that's
drink.
right. It's not the water that we drink. It goes into the treatment plant just like where all of our other stuff goes, and it gets all treated and then reprocessed for the recycling water that we use in our parks and on
Yes.
our landscapes. That's where they
Yes.
use that water in our
Yes.
treatment plant. So
The purple pipes.
that's right. All the purple fire hydrants, all the purple pipes and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's where all that water goes. And they were saying that if I were to introduce that into our water system, that it would actually benefit and help the city's water system because it would help neutralize some of all the stuff that's down in there before it gets to the water treatment plant. So it almost would be treating the water before it got to the treatment plant. So that's
Wow.
what they told me. That's what I heard. And so I'm just taking that with a grain of salt. But I was looking forward to doing that, but it wasn't really cost effective at the time. It still really isn't cost effective
It's an
yet,
expensive
uh,
option. Yes.
because it's an expensive option and
Yeah.
it's time consuming. It takes a lot longer than it does a regular flame cremation.
Right. Right. And I think, yeah. And so that would be definitely something you'd plan ahead for.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, gosh, Chris, you've answered all the questions. Thank you so much
You
for,
bet.
yeah, people ask random questions, and it's awesome to have someone answer those for
You
them.
bet.
And everybody, we had so many wonderful guests today. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on and sharing your ideas and thoughts and sharing the show as well. Okay,
Be-
so our what? Say it again.
Before we go, though, Mary,
Yes.
I just want to make an announcement about, we're coming into the 4th of July weekend. We
Yes.
have this weekend and next week. Next week, we're such patriots and stuff. But I just want people to be aware about drinking and driving
Oh, good.
and driving fast on the roads. I was watching the news this morning and there's several car accidents out there and people are dying because they're not being prudent. So I just want people to be aware, be responsible, have fun, be patriotic, but don't drink and drive. I don't need you any sooner as a client. I'd rather have you live as long as you can and be prosperous with your family and enjoy life as long as you can. Make good decisions out there and have a beautiful and wonderful patriotic 4th of July.
I love that. Thank you so much. And because we're in the city of Corona, Corona does it up big
It
on
does.
4th of July. We have a parade, we have a fireworks celebration, and a whole party out on the Santiago Park. So we hope that we'll see you guys out there
Yes,
as well. But thank you for reminding people to do that because, yeah, you don't need any more business. You're
no,
fine.
I'm doing
And I also wanted to announce that our next show is on July 26th. We're doing a
that.
little less during the summer because people are busy.
Right,
And so we look forward to having you guys come back on July 26th. We'll be promoting on all his platforms.
great.
But until then, we appreciate you coming on to our episode 13, How to Choose Your Cremation. Until July 26th, thank you so much, everybody. Again, happy 4th of July and God bless you.
Bye bye.
Bye.